last week we talked about scalar waves. So here are the reflection. Anybody would like to jump in, everybody? Anyone jump in, reflecting about aligning faith, the idea of faith, to the conceptual idea of scalar waves. All right. So scalar wave, there's a lot of push right now for 0 point energy, scalar technology. And this is just conscious untapped potential, right? It says faith without works is dead, right? So now you have something that you can apply consciously that you can call work, right? But this conscious work also happens unconsciously, which makes it great. Right? Rather than going out and pursuing and aligning with that vibration of pursuing, you can now tap into a system like the Qi Coil and have that frequency engulf you and consume you, where you are vibrating in it unconsciously while living life, while being in the moment without having to feel attached to an idea or anything else. And so you'll begin to see, because we're in a transformative age right now, which is the information age. So information will begin to pour. Information is also energy. Energy is coming in abundance, and it will be coming in different aspects of our experiences. And we will be awakening to the depth of different contrast and expansive energy levels. And so, David and his team and others out there have worked diligently to bring some of these frequency that you don't need to chase after. You don't have to chase after having a meditative state. Well, he brought that to you. You don't have to chase after a doctor or some means to heal your body. They brought that to you on some level, but it does require your intention. You must apply your intention. All those things out there means nothing without your intention at the quantum level. That's where your superpower is. That's what no one can take from you. I need all of you to understand, no one can take your superpower of intention. So previously we talked about, well, how do I create? And then we'll get into the frequency here in depth. But how do I create my reality? Because Jossie, you're telling me that I'm responsible and I'm the creator of my reality. How is this possible when my reality is not what I desire? So I received a download. I wanted to understand this fundamental principle idea that we experience suffering, pain, sickness, diseases, right? Whether in our physical body, in our relationship, and so forth. I wanted to understand that at the core. Why is this happening? And for what purpose? Because it doesn't feel like it's service, right? And why would the idea of God create such distortions? And the download says God is not creating nothing for you. You are creating everything for yourself, right? Well, I'm sorry, let me go back. How is this possible for me to be creating a reality that I do not desire, right? And what the download really emphasized, and when I say download, this is my attunement, when I attune myself, because I run frequencies on myself often, and I try to allow myself to peel away all of the subjective perspective. And I peel away, and it allows me to be more open. So I almost like zero myself out. So that way, whatever I call the truth for me can flow. And when I see that, I challenge the truth. I challenge it from every angle and see, is it absolute? And the more I challenge it, the more it perceived to be absolute, the more I begin to align with it, because then it is the common denominator for the entire collective. And so the creative process is simple. Okay? The practice of thinking, we'll make it simple today. The practice of thinking is the practice of creating your reality that ultimately manifests. The practice of thinking, because we're practicing, is actually a creative process internally. When we go inside and we think about people, places, and things subjectively, we're practicing creating. And in that practice, the more you do it, the more you create a vibration that resonates within you, that sends signal outside of you, that allows for your creator outside of you, which is also you, to bring that to you. It is that simple. And if everybody sit back and truly reflect and ask themselves, when I sit down and I think about things, is it positive? Is it negative? Is it constructive? Is it supportive? And when I really look at that and compare that to my life, do I see similarities? Right? Because when we go inside subjectively, but the creator is more expansive in his creative process, very creative. So it takes all of that internal creativity and they use people, places, and things out here that you're projecting, and it moves things around. The whole universe begins to conspire and move things around to solidify your ideas and your belief systems. So your belief system, your thought patterns, I don't care who you get it from, because if you choose to accept someone else's ideas that you reflect, it is yours now. It's not theirs anymore. You can't say, well, he told me this or she told me this, the pastor told me this. When you choose to align with certain truth, it becomes the truth for you and it becomes your reality. When that person is long gone from within your scope of experiences, it's still your reality. I need all of you to understand that. You have to be very careful what information you choose to accept, because the acceptance of that information allows you to feed yourself more of it. And we are guilty of it. Well, we've been indoctrinated on a collective level for such a long time that when we animate into physical reality, there's certain essence, certain aspect of reality that try to keep us subjective. So we animate into physical reality, right? And then all of a sudden we feel like we're trapped in a box. And some of us feel like we're suffocating. And then we begin to be indoctrinated on how to survive within the box. The box is here for you. The box loves you. The box cares for you. You can see that box as a metaphor for, religious indoctrination, religious ideas, a religious belief system and connection, because we find ourselves, oh, I'm a Methodist, I'm a Baptist, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Jew. We start to say, I am, I am, I am. You begin to speak that to yourself. But not only speak that to yourself, you begin to create. I am a Jew, and Jews are the chosen people. So everyone else are beneath us on some unconscious level. That's what is being fed. It's not intention. It's not intentional, but that's why the idea. And they say, well, I'm a Christian. Jesus came for the Jews, but he loved the Gentile. He's embraced the Gentile. He sacrificed for the Gentile. And therefore the Gentiles are loved, are the chosen children of God, the second son, as you may call it. That's a belief system idea, right? Or you can look at the system of religious siblings, right? You have the elder brother, which is the Jews, and you have the middle child, and then you have the youngest child, which is Christian and Islam. Right? Those are all battles of boxes. And we come into these boxes and we close everything else out. We forget that we are to love everyone unconditionally, right? Well, we start to narrow those ideas of unconditional love and unconditional acceptance, and the aspect that we're all one from the same source. We begin to disconnect from that and we begin to become judgmental. And as you do that, you begin to shield yourself like an onion, right? You begin to just layer and layer and layer and layer yourself. And then one day you wake up and says, I want more from my life. But those layers have you trapped. And so you are now walking in this mentality, this idea that in the world of education and science, they call cognitive dissonance, right? You have this contradictions. You want something, but you feel like you're going to challenge something else that you're accustomed to, right? You don't want to challenge your belief system. I remember when I first started this journey and someone asked me a very profound question. Well, he told me to make a statement. He said, say I'm God. And I said, the devil is a liar, because that's why I was trained, right? He said, no, I need you to try to say, I'm God. I said, I can't. I said, but the devil is a liar, because for you asking me, and I started judging, right? I said, you're going to burn in hell because you're not saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost, filled, fire baptized. I began to just spill it out, right? Because that was my belief system. He said, how can you say you're one with God when you cannot say that I am God because I'm an expression of God? You do not exist outside of God. So you identify yourself as God because you're one with God. He said, it's not saying that you're the all be all of God, but it's saying that you're one with God. It's understanding that oneness that you are with God. He said, when you can embrace that, you'll begin to help unravel, because now you'll begin to see other aspects of yourself that is aspect of God. And you'll begin to move higher in this idea of what you are within God. And you will stop seeking to find God and begin to seek to find yourself within God. And that was heavy for me. And so he says, go forth and open your heart, open your mind, and study. And I did. I went out and I began to study. But what I did also, I opened my mind and my heart to all that is, to pour within me. And it was tough. I went through 9 months of depression going through that journey, right? Is that something? Because I had to be expanded, right? And sometimes depression is going deep within the pressure within yourself, right? Because a lot of pressure you've applied to yourself. And there's a lot of force that you have to now depress, right? And you're going and you're trying to do that, but it's too much for you. So you become consumed with the pressure, and you become enveloped with the pressure, and then you're stuck in the pressure, and then you feel like you're overwhelmed. You begin to shut down. But the pressure is too much. Okay? I'm saying all that. That was then. What David and the team and others are doing is to help minimize that, because the path to spiritual evolution should not have resistance. It's our natural birthright to understand who we are, where we come from, and how we're all connected. And we have to begin to explore deeper within ourselves and begin to love ourselves, because the pouring of love within oneself is the overflow of love that you share with others. And some of us, we're very subjective with how we love others, because we're very subjective how we love ourselves. You know, if I move to the next thought, I had one of my scholars. She was crying, she was weeping today, and I pulled her to the side. I said, "Why are you weeping and crying?" She said, "My father is a narcissist." I said, "That's fair." I said, "How have you come to that conclusion?" "Because he just is." I said, "Okay." I said, "Do you know what that word means, or you just regurgitating something someone said?" She said, "He's a narcissist." So it's like, okay, let's breathe through it, right? And then I began to share. I shared some frequencies with her, and I said, first, let's get you zero out, because as long as you're charged, you're not going to see your father for what he is. You're seeing your father through the lenses of what is happening within you. So I need you to let's breathe. So we took some deep breath, relaxed, and we did some EFT. We did some other tapping while our frequencies were running. And then I told her, I said, everything that you're experiencing is an aspect of yourself that needs healing. Right? And when by the end of the conversation, she had mentioned how that's how she had been conceived. So a lot of times the things that we do are things based on definitions that others have infringed upon us and pour within our existence and made us believe that this is who we are. You are this, you are a sinner, you are that. And we begin to consume ourselves with those ideas. And we begin to limit our potential. Right? So everything, even with this young scholar, when she began to understand that, and she understood that it begins and ends with love, she begins to just weep and pour. Right? but I could still see the overflow of the unconscious belief system that has been saturated her for so long. And she begins to say how she's a victim and blah, blah, blah. And I told her, I said, do you understand narcissism comes in multiple different ways? There's vulnerable narcissism, right? That means that you're either a victim or a victor, right? And if you're not a victor, then you're a victim. But you are never a victim because there's greatness in you. You are powerful. You are amazing. You are perfect. I need you to understand that. She said,
And
no, I'm not.
I wish somebody mute their
So I
thing
began
mute.
to speak that which is in existence of herself in her so she can see that. And it was hard. It was hard because the belief system that had captured her have defined her subjectively in a way that she couldn't see beyond the box. So I'm asking all of you out there, understand your boxes. Know the boxes that have you trapped. You're not a victim. And as long as you believe you're a victim, you play the role of being in that box. And you will perpetuate that role on and on in multiple lives. Because you are coming the victor, the victim, the victor, the victim, till you understand that both existence is you. Right? And so going back to the creator, remember we talked about when you have a thought, you can change the thought. And I told the young lady, I said, rather than thinking of your dad as a narcissist, think of your dad as a loving person. She's like, I don't know how to do that. I said, see him. And I had her change her thoughts about him. I need you guys to understand we can change our thoughts because we have the power to do so. But our ego and our pride and our emotion gets in the way. No, hell no. That fool did this to me. I ain't changing my thought about him. We begin to talk in the little swinger. I wish I would. That blah, blah, blah. We begin to express our emotion. I'm not doing it. He disrespected me. He hurt me. F that. Okay, so be it. And the creator out here says, so be it. Right? Because your pride and your ego allows you to inflame more of that. And that's a protective mechanism because energy loves you. Energy doesn't come in positive or negative. It's just a manifestation of your totality of your vibration. So when the energy comes in and consumes you, it loves you, right? Good, bad, and different that you define it to be, it loves you. It wants to be with you. Those bad things that's happening to you, it loves you. It loves giving you more bad things. It get excited, right? Your creator gets so excited. Oh my God, let's find how many different ways we can get this person miserable or uncomfortable. Look at him. He's starting to recover. Let's trip him up. Let's see what happens there. So your creative force come together. Yeah, look at that. That was kind of funny, right? And you trip. You're like, why did I have to trip? Why did I hurt myself again? Because I deserve it. I'm always being hurt. Look at that. We got it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. So they get together. How can we get them tripped up next time? Right? Maybe we'll get them tripped on the bridge next time. Right? Because you are eternal. So it plays reality in a way that it's like a movie, like you're programming a game or programming a movie, right? Or recording a movie. It doesn't understand pain. Your creator doesn't understand suffering. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise because there is no such thing as suffering when it comes to the totality of who you are. It's only an experience. This is an illusion. Illusion doesn't have suffering within it. If we look at a movie, you can't say, what is suffering? Let's look at it. Let's ask this question. What is really suffering? When you watch a movie and you see someone suffering in a movie, right? You don't know that person. You make connection because you have a belief system that person is suffering. That is the only connection to it. There's no real suffering, right? That person is not real. That person is an actor, acting the idea of suffering. But when you stand back, you attach that to your emotions like, oh, that was so sad. Why did he do that, right? And you get so personal to the point where some people start attacking the actor. Why would you do that? How dare you hurt her? It was just a soap opera. Relax, right? No, you don't understand. It is real. It's real. It's the same with creation. Your higher self sees all of this as an illusion. But we get so subjective and so emotional about it. And we begin to really attach more to them and we begin to manifest more. Right? So all of these are things that you need to first understand about yourself. That you're both the creator internally and you're the creator externally. and you're using the same source that created the whole entire, all that is. You're using that same force, that same power with your intention to create the reality that you're choosing consciously or unconsciously to experience. So I'm going to pause here and have anybody else jump in, and let's add to this conversation, please. And then we're going to look at some frequency.
That was a lot of information to process, but for me, hi, it's Pandora from Australia. For me, it was a
Can you speak up?
validation.
I want to make
Sorry,
sure
for
I
me,
hear everything.
Well, he didn't get to look at it because he
There you
has
go.
no
There you go.
helpers. And so my mechanic was saying that it might be a starter.
Anybody else would like to jump in?
Yeah, I would like to add something to that.
Please. Vic, how you doing today?
Good, good. And congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like what was past was a different way of life. Now we are in a different way of golden light now. We are also matching with Gaia, Earth. So as we get rid of all these dark spots, dark energy, which is depleting, we're getting more direct light from source. So we are going to truly be a new being. Now, if you keep your frequencies up there and learn, because we are regrowing again, as a new development on light energy, pure crystalline. So as we grow from all sorts and sizes, we will individually have our own little awakening as our own person. So we will help each other, and we are helping each other, but it takes time for every individual to go through their processes, as well as old life recurrences that we've been through, many, like our soul's journey. So once we connect to our soul's journey more so as our basically our reality, then we'll match the reality above on the five, on the 5D plane, on the plane of it all. But we are still getting there. It's taking a little time, but these frequencies definitely do aid in a lot more ways than we can fathom. And you're describing quite a bit the same way is how the miracles happen, and that's as long as your frequencies are higher, you'll match more, because the darkness does not have that hold of us anymore, and it was using the light energy to transform into the dark to feed it, blah blah blah. So this is truly a wonderful way of life that we're living into now. But it's getting to know ourselves, and yes, love is the magical word to help your process grow, because you've got to love yourself.
I don't want to change. I want your thought flowing, but I want to ask a question so that we can guide your thought. So what you're saying is what I call a subjective perspective. So I would like you to answer this question for me and then continue elaborating. Okay, if you had to travel from, let's say, from one part of the world, where are you located, Rick? If you don't mind me asking.
UP, Michigan.
Michigan. I used to live in Flint, Michigan.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So let's say you have to travel from Michigan to Australia, right? And you had these different modalities or means or resources to travel. One is you could crawl on your stomach to get there, right? Another option, you could walk to get there. Another option, you could drive a car to get there. Another option, you could fly to get there. Another option, you could teleport to get there. Another option is you can get there with the speed of thought, which is close to the teleportation. How would you rather get there?
As of now, I would like to teleport, consciousness, because that's truly something that's new. There's something that we're born with as we're kids in a so-called way, but because it's been suppressed, that we never really had the chance to exploit it. That's majority, but we still need lessons to learn. Correct?
Absolutely. And that is the important part of the lesson. So Some individual come and says, I want to learn the lesson of crawling. So I'm going to try to crawl. It might take me multiple lifetimes to get there, but I would like to crawl, right? Someone else might say, I would like to use patent Turner. I would like to walk because I think I've done crawling. I'm tired of crawling, so I like to just see what happens when I walk. Right? And they have all the options available. They've already been through all the options because they understand the oneness that is all within, right? And so and then the next person might come and says, no, I would like to fly. I would like to see it from a higher perspective. I like to look down and see the connection. Okay. And then another person might come and say, I just want to pass all of it. I just want to teleport. I don't want to even have the in-between experience. I don't want to crawl and have to deal with all the nature. It's disgusting. Or I don't want to have to walk. Who does that? Who wants to walk and get tired and have all of that strain on my muscle? We have all these reasons, right? But I want to fly so I can see it from a higher perspective. But I still want to see it. Another person, I don't want to see nothing. I just want to get from here to there. The reason I'm sharing that because our evolution comes in multiple different ways. Say the distance between 2 points is a straight line. Well, if you bend those points, it's an instantaneous connection, right? When you connect within, there's instantaneous. When you talked about earlier about the transformation of the different density level or the dimensional level, think of that as crawling. That's a crawling process. We can go through that evolution, and that evolution has taken place. Experience multiple different layers of it. And I realized I was experiencing it subjectively. I was experiencing it all at once. Once you're in tune with your higher self, you are connected to all those different layers, right? I've seen the 15, when I go as high up as 15 density level, I return back to one density level, which is the etheric level, right? And so when you get down to that low level, you realize as below, as above, right? There's nothing above that is greater, or nothing below that is greater. It's just the oneness that is connecting everything. The reason I'm saying that because a lot of times we come in and say, well, this is the path we are on, right? Well, that is the path we've collectively chosen to follow, right? But individually, we can expand beyond those paths. Everybody doesn't have to walk the same path. We don't have to be led in this direction. We have the multidimensional capacity to shift. In fact, we're constantly shifting at an infinite level. So the question is, where do you want to teleport or shift to? What reality do you want to shift to? What type of belief system do you hold that will allow you to accept your shifting? Because if you shift too fast to a different aspect of yourself, you may not recognize yourself. Many of you shift to an aspect of yourself when you dream, right? A lot of those perspectives, that's your perspective. And you can see you've been everything sometimes in a dream that is scary or positive, constructive, male, female. That's all aspect of yourself. Imagine waking up and you shifted to one aspect of that reality. It will freak you out. So the reason we're, in this physical vehicle, we have to move through this idea of longitudinal processes is because we have to guide ourselves through it. The body can handle that, the brain can handle it. The brain's a multidimensional system, but if it's not on lock, it can't handle that. We go into a shock. And I know that because the more I try to take in certain energy, the more my body and my brain, all that stuff becomes very difficult to hold. So I say all of that, everybody is different, everybody has the capacity. Well, is all about that, right? So
right.
let's go ahead.
That is correct. But once you reach that conscious level, those other things won't matter. They're not a part of that world no more.
Absolutely.
So you're in a different aspect that's totally it's not unknown. It's in a different existence altogether.
But what if I told you, Rick, you came from there already? That's where you came from to get here, right? You animated from that reality to come here, and you're excited to go back to that reality, and that's the aspect of reality, right? But I'm telling you came from that aspect of yourself, right? So you as above, as below, because you're oneness with all that is, and all that is not, right? And so there's no separation. You're just shifting within yourself, shifting to different aspects of yourself, right? And you are identifying what version of yourself subjectively you'd like to experience or perceive. Because as I said before, the soul or the essence that is the spark conceived. That means it's already created everything. There's nothing else to create, nothing new. Energy cannot be created anymore. It's already all in existence. All right. It cannot be deleted or destroyed. It must be transform, and that transformation is just shifting. It's, subjective perspective. We call it
Yep.
higher or lower. But we are now awakening to that knowledge. And that's what we're talking about, Rick. We're awakening to see a different layer to ourselves. And so I'm glad you talked about that layer. That's one layer, the fifth dimension, and it's the sixth dimension. And this is all those dimensions are just a layer of ourselves. And the more we awaken, the more we realize here that we're so much more than that aspect. Now, why are we talking about that? Because some of you, when you're using this technology, you're going to freak out. Weird things are going to happen to you in a good way, in a constructive way, but it could be frightening, right? Positively, negatively, whatever. Some of your deletion of your charges as it's going away can be very emotionally high, right? You can get intoxicated with it in a positive, constructive way, or in a negative way, right? So when we talk about Qi Coil, today specifically, we want to talk about the luck frequency. When you run the luck frequency exposes potentiality. Okay, what path of positivity do you want to move to? Right, it will expose you to that. You'll begin to see aspect of that, and you'll begin to see synchronicity of those aspects of yourself. Right? But what is going to happen? Attachment sometimes will feel like it's being ripped out of you, right? And that can be painful, right? Because you cannot shift while being attached to an idea belief system. So a lot of us, we want this, we want to go in a direction, but we're still attached to a certain belief system that doesn't align with that vibration, or even resonate with that reality that we want. So what end up happening, sometimes experiences come by way of creating emotional distortions, right? Because sometimes through pain and hurt is when we do some of our greatest shift. And when we go inward and we begin to truly go inward, we begin to feel sometimes the world is against us, right? But that's like a metamorphosis, right? You go within and you shield out everything, and you feel like you're alone. You're in this dark place by yourself because no one is connected to you. Right? It is similar to the allegory of the cave, Plato's allegory of the cave, where you have these individuals looking at the shadow of reality, and then one becomes free of the distortions, and he gets excited. He says, "I've been seeing the illusion." Now you turn around and he sees what reality is from another perspective, not a better perspective, but just another perspective. And he goes and he touched things for the first time rather than just perceiving shadows. And he begins to see reflections of himself, what he looks like. That's that internal look at oneself. And what ended up happening, he feels this sense of loss. That's that ripping apart. Where's my friends? Where are my family? I'd like to share this with them.
That's part of letting go.
Yeah. And he goes back and he sits down. He said, "Hey, look here. We have been seeing life the wrong way. Wake up." And friend, turn around. That is that devil stuff you're talking about right there. I'm not trying to hear you, right? Or that is that mumbo jumbo. Or that is that conspiracy theory nonsense. That is that stuff that's going to get you in hell. And then they go back to their reality of shadows. And you sit there and you ponder, to be or not to be. Is this the reality that I want to be? And you now have to have that battle. You have to make that decision. But what is scary is that if you turn away and walk outside, you don't know what awaits you out there. So you sit still, waiting for out there to come find you. And sometimes that wait seems forever. It seems to be eternal, right? Because energy needs to be moving. You need to have the intention to move towards. And you're stuck facing the wall. Now, one of the things is when you run these frequencies, you are awakening you from the illusion. And when that illusion begins to fade and you begin to see in between it, you begin to see the smoke and all of the distortions. you will begin to feel some kind of way. And that's what we want to talk about, because when you run that love frequency, you will see your potential. You will get a taste of it, and you're going to want it. And you're going to say, I would like this for my family. Can't do that sometimes because your family energy is not aligned. I want that for my dad, my mother, my daughter, my kids. Can't do that. You have to want it for you, because to want it for them is attached to them. Because see, when you shift, there's another version of them that awaits you there. So when you're running those frequencies, let go, zero yourself out of attachments of who will benefit from it. That's why a lot of us miss this opportunity of blessings. And then people who are successful, we say, well, they're self-righteous, I call it indignant and ignorant at the same time. That's not true. They're not ignorant, right? They are just subjective. They have put their energy progressing in that direction. And there's no attachment to people, places, and things. And as they move forward, the people, places, and things that align with them meets them there. So family, we are holding ourselves back on so many different levels because we're allowing our attachment to interfere with where we need to go. So we have to start learning to let go. So we have to start running some of those meditative frequencies, those calming frequencies, those loving frequencies, to just make everything unconditional. Be okay to trust the source to guide mom, dad, brother, sister, sibling, whomever, wife, spouse on their own journey.
Right.
Be okay to let that go, and be okay to understand that you did not create them. You manifest a reflection of them to experience your reality, but they have their own reality that they must experience subjectively as well. So that detachment is where it becomes painful. So I ran the luck frequency and I began to navigate through, I saw objective and subjective positivity. And then the twins got here and I got engulfed in this state, right? I told I was so high on this state, but it wasn't a balanced state. So to whom much is given, much is required. Because I require balance. That's my purpose path, right? So while my son was in the hospital, they requested circumcisions, and he gets circumcised. My wife agreed to. I didn't want that because he was a preemie already. They wanted to give him vaccine, circumcise him, and all this. I said, no, let him develop first.
Mm-hmm.
But she's in the box. She says, no, we want to do that. So they did it. Right? Now, as a as a holistic strategist with health and wellness, I understand anything that you impact the body requires healing, right? Especially when you cut, right? So at an early age, such a preemie, the temperature of the body is going to fluctuate, right? The body sometimes when it's healing, our temperature rises, right? But with preemie and young, infants, it drops. So his temperature dropped a degree or so, and all of a sudden the doctors come in and says, well, our standard of care require us to give him antibiotics. I'm asking, I said, why are you giving him antibiotics? Well, that's our standard of care. I said, have you identified any potential bacterial, that might be impacting his body? Well, no, we just do this as a standard of care. So I said, okay, what is the adverse effect, the allergic aspect to this? Give me the worst case scenario. He said death. I said, okay, let me get this straight. Okay? And I'm here there now because this is part of my balance, right? My balance is testing me. Can I still be neutral? Right? Because that's what we're testing. Or do I want to be attached to control? So I said that, and I kind of like lost it a little bit. I said, no, I don't want you to do that. My wife says, she threw it back in my corner. She said, I thought you were Mr. Positive. Mr. Positive. She turned her head to the side like that. I said, she was a little wrong for that, but I still love her unconditionally, right? So she said, "You're supposed to be Mr. Positive. Are you supposed to be the upbeat one? Why can't you just be positive in this experience?" And that was a learning experience for me. So I had to go back and I meditated. I ran some frequencies. And then I was driving. I called her back and said, "I apologize for being emotionally charged. And I truly accept this experience and I'm open to whatever outcome." My son recovered. There was no issues when they did the culture test. He came back, everything came back clear and so forth. So there was no need for that. However, he had to go through that experience. I don't know what journey he has to follow, right? He needed to go through that because I've already been through on the other side where from the time we conceive or perceive the idea of conception, there's a purpose in it. You can, babies coming for a season, a reason, and a purpose. So I don't know the reason from the higher perspective. At least I haven't. I just know they're here for a purpose, right? I don't know what that purpose exactly is. I have to allow them to walk into their own purpose. Why am I saying that? Because sometimes when that distortion comes in, we don't know how to let go. And when you let go, sometimes the path of least resistance. But this was interesting, right? I let go because my emotion was so charged at the beginning about the excitement and joy and happiness. I needed equal opposite to bring me back down to zero. Because zero is where you transform. I need everybody to understand. Zero is where the shift takes place. I get a call. It says, "Your mother just got, taken to the emergency room. She's in ICU. They're going to put her on a ventilator." That's what I talk about. Those energy loves you. It wants your attention. And I sat there and I didn't give it any energy. I just said, it is what it is until it becomes something else. I love my mother, wish the best, but I'm trusting this process. And it brought me back to zero. And when I began to get back to zero, everything began to work itself out. The reason we're not getting the manifestations that we want is because when we get charged up, we get locked in that charged situation. And that's why we begin to see the same situation happening in different ways. That pain is coming in multiple different ways because you need to be tested in order to let go and release that energy. And to be tested is to see, do you still have attachments to it? And that's where we must zero out. All the spiritual ideas of transformation, you got to return to a place of zero.
But that's how you heal, is positivity. You match the frequency to positive, and then it'll be correction into that way. If you can still be neutral, which is still fine, but you don't do no good or no bad.
Yeah.
You don't act. Yeah. And that's what you did. You became neutral and let it be.
Absolutely, equanimous. I think, and that's where the Qi Coil comes in, because the Qi Coil would tell you what is it, because the Qi Coil is a tool, everybody. It's an instrument, right? You ask yourself, which aspect of this tool can I leverage? Right? Just like any other tool you have. If you have a lawnmower, you don't use a lawnmower outside your house. You don't use a lawnmower to lawnmower your carpet or your bed, right? There's a purpose for it. So all of these thousands of frequencies have significant purpose in your evolutionary journey. You have to ask yourself, where am I going and which tools can best equip me to where I'm going, right? And so even if you have a health concern, when you get consumed about fixing it, I need frequency to fix this problem. I need frequency to fix this problem. You are attaching to the problem. You have to zero yourself out from the attachment in order to transform from it. And that's that teleportation process, right? Or you can just crawl on your stomach and see if you get anywhere anytime soon. And so to my families out there, I know the pain. I feel your struggle. I've been there. I'm there with you because I know that aspect of myself. But I need you to understand you have the power to shift.
Yes.
Leverage the technology to the best of your ability. It's a tool. Equip yourself with the tool. Get the right frequency, and then know where you're trying to go. If it's all about money, understand that money, having a lot of money, still requires you to have pain and suffering. Money doesn't eliminate that. Money doesn't eliminate the idea of lack of love. You can have all the money in the world and not be loving, and not be in love, not be loved, or not be healthy. There's a lot of wealthy people sick. A billionaire here recently just passed away. All his money in the world couldn't save his life. It doesn't matter. That money is not going to get you where you need to go within your evolutionary journey. It is understanding that that power and growth and transformation is within you. And if you begin to understand that, you begin to heal you, begin to focus on transforming you from within. Anything is possible because that intention that you put in you is what allows you to manifest to the next level of evolutionary steps that you would like to move higher within yourself, because you're moving within yourself. We can say we're moving within God, but you don't know God. You know yourself. To know yourself is to know aspect of God. Perfect knowing yourself unconditionally as to understand how God knows you unconditionally.
Yes, co-creators. That's what we are.
Absolutely. Anybody else would like to add?
Hey, Jossie, I'd like to add a comment.
Yes, Richard. How you doing today? Good, sir.
Well, I want you to tell them what you did when you saw your son's temperature drop. Didn't you touch him
Yeah.
and had like attention, and that brought him right back?
Yeah. So I have the capacity, right? Because I was neutral. I had no judgment. By just showing love to my son, there was healing in the process of him, right? And I need, because I went to him with the intention to know, but and I said, Richard, by touching him, it was touching and agreeing that he had the ability to transform, even at that early stage, right? And that's that letting go of, right? That letting go of no control, and I put my hands and I loved them, and I said, I love you, and he was alert, he was connected, and he wasn't crying in that moment. So you never know how you are going to be transformative in the life of someone, you know? And for me, what I've learned in this valuable lesson is that even though my son brought me high joy, I still need to be neutral. Even though sometimes pain might come, I still need to be neutral, because neutrality is the path of least resistance to transform. You can't go through the tunnel unless you're neutral to shift. You cannot be attached and go through the shifting transformation process. And so I'm asking families, loved ones out there, share this with your family. Get them loving unconditionally. In fact, Richard, do you want to share? Because do you want to share the situation with you that happened? Let's see if Richard's still.
What situation are you talking
Situation
about?
with the technology.
So, you mean the frustration I had yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I was pretty frustrated with the council because one of the frequencies, as soon as I would start it, it would shut the system down. And when I contacted support, they said, well, just delete the app, and we'll give you a link and you can install the update. Didn't happen. Oh, I tried to delete it. I did uninstall it. I couldn't delete it, but so I followed their link and I went to the website, and there was nothing there to replace it. So after 3 attempts, and Jossie was very helpful, I said, okay. So I looked at my tablet, and the app was still there. It had been uninstalled, but it was still there. I hadn't actually removed it from the device. So I reinstalled it, and everything's working perfectly. So, but I was pretty frustrated at the time, and I was a bit perturbed. This is the 3rd time I've had to do this with my counsel, and I wasn't happy about that. But Jossie says, why are you getting stressed about this? I said, well, because I was treating a small skin cancer and I was having some success, and I was pretty distraught that I woke up this morning and the thing wouldn't work. It just shut down. And he goes, well, don't stress out about it. Just relax. And so when he got off, my machine wasn't working. And it was only after he got me convinced that I just needed to calm the hell down, which is what I did. Then I looked at it, I go, oh, I still have the file on my thing. Let's reinstall it and see what happens. And it's working fine. So there you go. I mean, thank God Jossie got me straightened again. It's so easy to get off track. Yeah.
Yeah. The path of least resistance is detachment. And so in the conversation with Rich, I was like, let's do a 2-hour reset and just zero yourself out, because the things that you're trying to fix don't need fixing. You need to shift, and shift will allow you to have solved it, or it will come with no resistance. If you see resistance happening, then that means there's attachments. That's what I want everybody to start looking for. Start to see if you see resistance, because that which you resist will persist. And so when Richard texted me back, he said, well, I just let it go. And then I thought about it. I went back to it because he was trying to delete it. He couldn't find it. It was all that was a purpose. There was no way he could delete that. Even if he tried, he couldn't delete it because it was this was just an experience to get him to reflect that there's still this attachment, high emotional state when we get agitated and we don't get things. And sometimes our resistance is necessary. That resistance is a healing process. Okay? And so every time, and Richard have done the same for me. I've gotten charged up and he would say the same thing, you know, and when he says the same thing to me, I go back and say, okay, iron sharpening iron. I'll go back and I practice what I've expressed, because sometimes a download comes through me, but sometimes for me, and I don't hear it. And when others reflect it, I'm grateful for that. Right. So Richard has been a huge inspiration. This has been a two-way street. He's been a huge inspiration in this journey. And I'm asking us to be a inspiration for one another, inspiring one another towards the greater version. I have some great resources when I call resource support, right? In that which is source. I have James Gilmore, man. James is just tenacious when it comes to, hey Jossie, what about this, what about that. He's expanding my horizon when it comes to the potential of what energy frequency, like you can introduce somebody but they take the baton to the next level. So I'm grateful for James, Janine, and others out there that have been so phenomenal in getting me to expand and not limit myself to all be all, and just being more open to however way source allows this energy to flow. But it requires us to really tap into this energy consciousness. Qi Coil is your way of understanding you better. Think about that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the whole purpose, to understanding you better, not to fix you, not even, I know some people say to heal you, and I would say not even to heal you, to understand you, because to understand you is to understand the infinite aspect of you. There's an aspect of you that is healed. If you understand that aspect of you, that is you. There's an aspect of you that is sickly. Understand that aspect of you and connect to that aspect of you, that is you. So what this technology does, it gives you the potential, as I said, the potential possibility of what you could be and what you may desire to be. So tap into it, test it, play with it. You're in a candy store, test the candy, eat the sugar, right? Eat the candy, anime, eat the candy. You know, don't worry about what happened, just eat the candy. That's an analogy. Some of you probably understand that. Others, but yeah, just indulge in it, indulge in a different frequency, and see which one resonate with you, and then begin to play with it more. Test these frequencies. There are some frequency that work for you. One that I've seen that's worked universally is love, and then the luck. Those two, it seems to work, I know, collectively. But Richard is starting to test other frequency, like healing skin cancer. Richard don't have to go looking nowhere. He has the tool right there. He said, let me try this. And he began to see manifestation. But Richard's actually shifting. Right? There's no healing here. There's a shift to another aspect of yourself. And that aspect can be a micro, a macro. It can be a macro, a micro shift. And when you see that shift, it creates synchronicity to say you're on the right path. So I encourage all of you to play with the frequency, test the frequency. Some frequency, you may not like the feeling of it. You might say, this is too intense for me. This is uncomfortable for me. And then sometimes when you go through that uncomfortable experience with that frequency, you might see a greater shift in the direction that you need. Like, well, that was uncomfortable, but I saw more happening for what I need than without it. So now you begin to embrace this idea that maybe you need to go into that uncomfort zone, right? And be a little bit uncomfortable in order to transform, because the path to your transformation can go by way of any direction. You do not control your flowing. And I will say that, and I will have anybody else jump in. We talked about previously the number line, how creation works on all levels, right? Soul level, spiritual level, all levels, right? Creation in the aspect, because there's so many different density level and dimensional level. They all have to follow these rules. Okay? Creation must have duality, contrast. It doesn't matter. All levels have contrast, as above, so below, right? And to look at contrast, look at a number line. 0 is in between. Negative infinite, positive infinite. -1, +1. -2, +2. There's no definition you can have on the positive side that doesn't exist on the negative side. The line is the infinite love. Love permeates through everything. Then there is you subjectively looking at the number line. Think of all those numbers as potential of your experience or experiences. Okay. If you say, I want to be a positive, loving person, you will become that, but it doesn't mean you will not see negative people. And that's what we miss. We think, oh my God, I'm so loving. Why everybody hate me? Because you're so loving. That's why, because you have to see the opposite to perceive it. Oh my God, why people can't be like me? Because they can't. Because you're unique. And there are people who are just miserable that just get everybody seem to be pouring into them. And you sit on the sideline, how is that fool over there mean and vindictive and all this other stuff? Everybody just love it. It is what it is. It's not for you to look out there to judge. It's for you to look out there and see anybody can receive love.
But it's also a ripple effect on the positive as well as the negative. So you got to be careful on the negative, not to bring you down to that level again.
Yeah.
To maintain that higher level.
Yeah. And it's not, and I wouldn't say maintain it, it's just beginning to just stay neutral, because you're either going to perceive a situation, or you're going to reflect a situation, or you're going to be the situation. So when I say perceive, you see it outside of you, right? To be the situation, you're living the situation, right? And then sometimes you're the support of the situation. Okay. You have to ask yourself, what state best serves you? Because sometimes you are all of the above, right? And so, as Rick said, you don't want attachments when you are perceiving a situation, because that attachment can pull you back in. You know, and sometimes I would hear people who say, my husband was abusive. I said, okay. So I will sit back and just observe. And they're watching all these videos about abusive people. Yeah, I know these men are just, oh, look at him, just abuse. Look at him, just standing there looking abusive, right? And they just feed it and feed it and feed it. And I just sit back and I just marvel on how much they feed that. And then they say, my husband would not stop abusing me. Ask yourself, what are you feeding yourself? When was the last time you watched a video that showed a loving husband? And I've actually seen this. There will be life is funny sometimes. There will be a video, and then there will be a positive commercial. Something will be like, is your husband loving towards you? Hell no. Swipe. Right? You swipe it and you go back to, yeah, that's that demon right there. That demon spawn right there. That's how exactly. And we're feeding ourselves. All right. And I'm saying that because I'm saying this from a place of love, right? Because you got to ask yourself, what am I feeding myself, right? And if something was sickly, right? I got cancer. You're looking at all the different type of cancer. Yep, that food died. Yep, he died too. That's scary. Oh, did you see his face with that? Okay. And you just feeding and feeding and feeding. You don't know you're doing it unconscious, rather than just sitting back and saying, it is what it is. And then look for the outcome. When do you start feeding yourself the outcome, the end desire? And the same thing with financial, right? You're looking at people and you see people and you listen to affirmation and positivity, but you attach to poverty, right? You say, oh my God, I want to be abundant. I want to be financial. I see the yacht. Do you really want to own a yacht? What is it at the end? of this that you desire? And how are you feeding yourself to see the end that is realistic to you? Right? Watching an affirmation with people on a yacht. I've done that. I'm guilty of it. So I've seen a couple of yachts in my days, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool right there. I'd like to have that. Well, for what? Why do I need a yacht? Why? Because somebody else has it? I don't know. Right? I was just and I've actually experienced a yacht. So having the experience of a yacht, is it the same as having a yacht? I don't know, right? So sometimes I'll sit back and say, okay, if I have it, I have it. Maybe one day it'll be cool to just have one, but why? What is the reason? And when I look for my why, there's no reason for that because there's so much more to experience in life than trying to chase after a yacht. Go ahead, Louis.
Louise, hello.
Oh, Louise. How you doing? Blessings, Louise.
Good, good. I really enjoy your talk, by the way.
Thank
And
you.
I feel like I miss it when I'm not able to get on like last week, but there was for good reason.
Oh, I wasn't on last week. I missed it too. We're having a baby.
Yeah, that's right. That was a very good, exceptional good reason. I really enjoy your talk today about how you feel like feeling stuck because, I mean, I do feel stuck in many ways in different things. When you said that was because there are things we're not maybe in our subconscious mind that we're not letting go of, and that's why we're not changing. And that was very profound. The way you said it, you expressed it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm a twin.
Okay, congratulations. That's awesome.
Me and my twin, we're gonna celebrate our 70th birthday next month.
70.
And but I have to say that twins, people think that they're alike, but we are very much alike, but we're also complementary. It's like a hand that fits in a glove or a key in the right key, door knob. And so the strength of one will be the weakness of the other, and the strength of the other will be the strength of the other. So together, twins are very powerful team.
Yeah.
And but I don't know about today, but I remember in the 70s you'd hear about twins that would hated each other because they thought they didn't have an identity, but actually they do. They complementary identity, and when they understand that, it's powerful. I mean, really, it's not like having a big sister or little sister. It's totally different. It's a
Please, can
team.
I ask this question? How do we all feel that? Because we're all twins on some
Yeah.
level. Energetically, we're all from the same source. How can we get to that place where we feel that?
Well, it'd be understanding that we're complementary. It's like that's why you get along with somebody because they fill in the blank, or we together we have some of the same, and some of we help each other by being opposite.
There you go. And those opposite is not something to challenge, right? Or something to embrace.
Yeah, because it's powerful when you realize that.
So let me ask this question: have your twins really got on your nerve before? Like,
Of
oh my God,
course.
here she come again, kind of.
But we did in our teenage years when friends started to choose between one or the other.
Uh-huh.
There's a time we were like dogs and cats. But once we start to have our own friends, then we got back in sync.
Got you. So that box, as I talked about, when you start looking for friendship, especially the middle school years, you begin to be encapsulated in that box. Everything is about what you see life as. So you grow out of it, you mature out of it. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
And we are best friends.
Thank you. And that's what we want for every human being on this planet, to be loving and besties of one another. No matter
Yes.
what your background, your differences are, let's come together in love. And people, this technology help us that. Don't let no one pull you away from it, because others will make you believe that this stuff doesn't work. Intention has been working from the beginning of time, because that's our tool of manifestation. Right? You have your intention. They've done scientific studies. They call the placebo effect, right? Everything proved that when you have, and even in religious context, faith, beliefs, I said belief is the developmental process of moving into knowing. When you believe something, you're supposed to expand yourself to move towards the knowing of that thing. And then you expand your belief even higher and higher. And that's the same thing with faith. You have faith about something, you get into the knowing, and you have faith about something, and then you're growing in the idea of faith. So you begin to expand yourself. It is the same thing as intention. you create the intention of what you desire, and you achieve it, and you create another higher intention. It is all saying the same thing, just from a different context. And so I'm asking us to work, at this, love ourselves enough to allow enough to overflow unconditionally. If you can love yourself unconditionally, stop telling yourself the story that you can love Jesus or love the Buddha, or Muhammad, or Allah. You can love nothing till you first love yourself, because it's through yourself where the kingdom of heaven dwells. Everyone has been teaching that, right? Nothing exists outside of you. The micro within you is the existence of what the macro outside of you. Go inside yourself, love yourself, see all the faults in yourself. Don't deny the faults in yourself, embrace it. Be okay with just who you are, where you are, period. And then when it's all said and done, sit back and just be the observer, which is at that point of zero. Because when you no longer is pushing, then just enjoy the ride, right? Sometimes we force ourselves to push. We're doing the paddle, we see the resistance, just let go and just see where the flow of the energy take you. Then go to your candy store and says, what am I needing today? I need a little bit more of this and that, and then run this frequency. Go ahead, Louise.
Yeah, actually, the point of zero, I guess, would be similar to the scalar waves. It's like being like neutral, where you can either go either direction.
Yeah, exactly. So scale, that's the whole purpose of scalar, is to come in to give us the conscious awareness that there's an energy source of intention. The intention is the thing that is the idea, right? Mm-hmm. It's the idea that's contrary to you. So if you are sickly, you have faith, you have an idea, you have an intention, and it's the opposite. What is that supposed to do? It's supposed to crush and zero out your current belief system to let it go, right? So when you have faith, you have intention, you have belief system, you have all, it's to pretty much let go. It's not getting you to transform, is getting you to let go of the attachment. So all the frequency you guys are running at the scalar is teaching you to peel back all of those attachments. Emotional, on the emotional body, on the physical body, on the higher body, on the spirit, all those different bodies still illusionary, right? It's all illusion. To perceive the idea of spirituality is an illusion. To perceive the idea of physicality is an illusion. All is an illusion. You are already one with source. You're already one with God, everywhere, all the time, forever, eternal. Right? Is this idea that you're separated, and how do you want to acclimate back to it? It's just you acting it out. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? However, when you begin to get to that place where you're just okay and accept reality as is and just go with the flow, you begin to see the richness of your creativity. You begin to see the richness of your reflections, your ideas. But if you go in and you pour love into yourself, see that dirty part of you that we call sinful or negative, and love you through it. Because if you can love you through it, nothing out there can do that. Because the power of that transformation lies within you. So get the help. So you know something? It's hard for me to detach consciously. Let me see if I can put the right information in the information field. Now I want to add to this. I want to add to this idea of vibration, right? Someone asked me and said, Mr. G, why is it that rich people continue to perpetuate wealth while poor people perpetuate poverty, right? And so we were having this dialogue. I said, do you know how many times when you typically ask someone who has achieved a high level of success, how many times did it fail? They would tell you 99% of the time they fail, right? They fell down 99% of the time. But there was this persistence, right? And that's that vibration, that persistent that kept moving them. So they took 2 steps, they fell back 1. Then they got up, it took 3, they fell back 2. Then they got up, they took 10, they fell back 9, right? That vibration of persistent getting up and moving is the vibration that got them to their success. It wasn't their skill, it wasn't their ability, it wasn't their ideas. Is that vibration of moving, that vibration of moving in that direction with consistency. Because when you're around certain things, certain environment, consistently, you begin to vibrate with that environment, right? And that's what was happening. So I need you guys to understand that no quick magic happens. All of the success requires you to just be persistent, right? But here is a hard part. You can't be persistent if you're not in that environment. So Qi Life brought the environment to you. Run those environment and run it with consistency and put that information in your information field. And then through synchronicity or through resonance, which is connection of people, places, and things, you'll begin to navigate into that environment that best aligns with you. Okay? So I want to pause here and get any last minute questions. Anybody else would like to jump in? You can jump in and say, you know something, Mr.
Oh yeah, hi.
Thank you, but you're full of
Hi,
shit.
excuse me. I have a question.
Yes, sir. Who is this?
Johannes, I'm from Germany. I noted earlier, I have a little question because I have this one Qi coil, aura coil, you know, the bigger star.
Okay.
And I would love to know how I connect the cables, because the videos that I saw, they have all the cables, how to connect the power plug, which, you know, a lot of people obviously know. You know, it's kind of like the power plug to the audio devices, like the amplifier and all of this, but they don't have how to connect the two cables to the you know. So I'm guessing it's just cables that are kind of open. They have no specific plugs, right? And they're just open wires, and they're kind of
Okay, so you have the
yeah.
aura coil, and you
Yeah.
have what power supply do you have?
Well, I haven't really tried it yet, so I can't really. I have something like an amplifier, and I would have some amplifiers that I could use, or general, you know, higher watt audio systems.
I wouldn't recommend. I would recommend using the one that came with the aura. When it started.
Well, this one I do not have, so I will have to make do.
So you bought the aura coil and it did not come with a power source.
I bought an Oracle which a friend had, and he had used it and was really quite happy with it.
Okay.
With astral journeys and theta healing and all this, so I thought I should pick it up.
Okay. Okay. So you have the aura coil. Okay, and the aura coil does have a connector that comes from the back of the aura coil. So you said the actual attachments, because in fact, what you can do, you can email me, and then
Yes.
I have one, and we'll go through it together.
Oh, that's just great. Thank you so much. That's most kind of you.
Of the connection, and so it's Jossie.
Yes.
You have my email address?
No, I wouldn't, but I mean, if it's online, I mean, I made a screenshot of your name, so I guess if you're on.
Let me give that to you, and you can actually email me, and anybody else that needs help. So it's Jossie at qilifestore.com.
Okay,
and
all in one word.
Mention you and I spoke, and then we'll see how we can get you set up. Maybe you can send me a picture when you email me of the back of the power source that you have.
Oh yeah, I got you. I got your email. Yeah, I already see your avatar, an image of you. Okay, great. I send you a little hi on the email, and thank you so much. You know, I'm really inspired. Also, I'm part African, part German, living in Germany, and I really like a lot of the wisdom that you're sharing and the motivation. So I would also have some things to add. I made this little note in the chat because I deal a lot, you know, with spirituality and esoterica, and I think it's very valid. Most of the output and the information, and I believe we're constantly journeying further into like the deeper esoterica, right? But I think this is all just a wonderful vibration, and everybody's very awake. So I like that. Thank you so much for it.
I'm intrigued. Yes, let's collaborate because I'm intrigued to learn. I'm always open to expanding. So thank you for this opportunity as well.
Yes. I mean, I've learned tremendously, of course. Yeah, it's just yeah, some details where I met this Master Sha, which is really interesting. He's also Chinese master, born in China. Now he's in Canada. Great 11 New York Times bestsellers. I mean, David Wong might know about him because he's a Tai Chi Qigong master and was like the Qigong Master of the Year 2002 from the World Qigong Federation. So he's really like a clairvoyant, enlightened man. And he really gives his daily practice routine in all of his New York Times bestseller books. And he brings those secrets that usually were in like Shaolin monk temples, Master Sha, Master Zhigong Sha. It's just SHA. And I'm curious what David says about him because I was also inspired by David doing the ancient Tai Chi Qigong practices. I tried to practice with him, watching the YouTube videos. So I think there's so much overlap there, and I think some of his exercises are a little bit more spot on how to really manifest, how to get the chi flowing in the inner body, and I love the frequency device. I'm sitting in a plasma field and so on, active right now. But I do think it really if you want to get to that absolute kind of higher precision, then there are some higher, like really precise esoteric teaching on the cleansing the chakras and all this is kind of necessary. I mean, of course, one can manifest without it, right? But then at some point, if one wants to get even more effective, right? And this is, of course, which I love that you pronounced it. You said you need the environment, and so also you need the environment and the chakra, and detoxing the body, and having the routine and all of this, which I'm not perfect at all, but I love studying it. So I'd also be very intrigued to learn more from everybody here and exchange on it. I'm looking forward to email with you.
Absolutely. And then one thing is David has a purpose. And so for those that resonate with David, I know that's part of being part of the network. I'll make sure I share David's information. David is always intrigued when it comes to that. David is on cloud nine when it comes to Qigong and all those different things, right? I have some other associate family, friends, and close relative that they get excited about that. And then a lot of time when we interact, I always say, you have a way of expanding what I am, right? And so one of the purpose of this interaction is to find you where you are, right? Because sometimes we become synthesized. We have to go through these routines, these motions, these different things. And sometimes we lose ourselves. And I want you to never lose who you are in the moment. Embrace yourself where you are. Don't seek to be something or someone beyond yourself, right? David is David. Let David be David, right? And you be you. Be the best version and let us see that best version of you, because sometimes that best version of you is what I need to get to my next level. So embrace your purpose, embrace your love of self, embrace your light, because every one of our light is unique, and allow that light to grow. And that's what I've always said. It begins and ends with you. Now I'm with me. Thank you guys for always coming and co-creating with me. But at the end of the day, it's not about me. I'm here to only share. I've been through multiple journeys. Some of the things I haven't even shared, right? I've been beyond this dimension. Yes, I've seen past, present, and future. But the deeper I went, I realized there was nowhere to go. Right? I was just creating an illusion for myself to expand this idea. But then I just became neutral, and I just said, and I just like the Buddha and many others, when they find enlightenment, it's finding that it's not the seeking, it's the now. When you stop seeking and stop the attachment, you begin to allow the now to teach you the greatest wisdom, and it comes by way of people, places, and things in the most simplistic way. So I love all of you guys, and I want all of you guys to know you are equally valid. No platform is greater than you. Not this platform. This is a community platform. No platform out there, no person out there is greater than you. You are greatness within you. You are source incarnate, right? So know that God's source cannot exist without you. You are valid, and be the best version of you in this world and all the worlds that you exist within. Hey, Richard, you like to add something?
I think 2 weeks ago, you were going to do an informal survey of people running love frequencies.
Yes.
How did they come out?
Do that in closing? What they manifested?
Well, what feedback did you get?
For me,
Did people report back to you what their experiences were?
No, not yet. That's why we're here. I would like anyone to jump in because I've been a little sidetracked with the twins, right? But I know I experienced a lot, and I've shared some of those experiences with you. And I would love to hear anybody real quick that would like to jump in and see. Did you run the frequencies in the morning? Did you run it driving in your quiet time? What did you experience that was unique? Anna, would you like to jump in and share? Anybody? Richard?
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Yolanda, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am blessed. Thank you. I'm excited. Thank you.
Good, good. I'm so happy to be here every week. Congratulations on the twins.
Thank you.
Um, I was I've been listening to all of the frequency that you sent, especially the luck one,
Mhm.
and just been experiencing different things and that I would not think I would ever experience. Just listening to the luck because I have an hour commute. So
Okay.
I just listen to it like at least 3 times before I get to my destination, and it's amazing. So I want to thank you for those. But my question is, well, I just heard you say email you, but I'm having the same issue with my Qi Coils that I can't. When I first got them, I did the test run with it with the video, and it seemed like it wouldn't like connect, move the little ball,
Mhm.
and connect with the magnet. So I didn't know if I was doing it right or what else. I don't know what I was doing.
Even unless because you're part of my team, email me and then we'll do that. We'll try to work on that as well.
Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, thank you so much.
Most welcome. Tony, I want to hear your testimony. Tony says he got a large and on as an expected check and something. Tony, share your blessing.
Hello. Yeah, I was house sitting for some friends,
Mhm.
and at the end of the week when they got back, they gave me a bonus. But every morning I was there, I played the frequencies on Qi Coil Max and out loud every morning for about an hour. And I didn't have any real expectations. I was just hoping better things would happen.
Yeah.
I was trying to have some intentions. When I was putting it on, I was just thinking that positivity would, come my way.
Yeah.
So
And
that's and also what was interesting was my girlfriend really missed me when I was gone. So there was a big bonus coming back that we were getting along much better than we had recently.
there you go. See, the debt is paid from the frequency in so many different ways, right? That is amazing because we all, and so here I want everybody to understand, right? When you get a blessing, okay, or a transformative, whether it's a check or whatever, ask yourself this, ask, is this the level where I am as it relates to that? So some of you might say, I manifested $100. Sometimes I manifest $100. Right? Ask yourself, that is where I am right now. Let me increase my intention to being more than that, right? But be grateful that you're being guided, right? So sometimes, like, I believe it was Anna that said she went and she got a discount trying to purchase a TV, right? And so you'll begin to see these small movements because that's where you are. Because a lot of time doubt comes in and said, this is not working, but you'll get a small taste of it. But then when you feed it back and say, okay, that was the first one, look for the second one, look for the third one, and it will begin to manifest, right? The luck frequency brought my twins. Without, I don't know if I would have my twins if it wasn't for the luck frequency. I ran those luck frequency consistently, but I had lost faith, the idea that would ever happen. Now they are real now for me, right? So what is it that you are desiring that you can start working towards and accept and be grateful for all the different aspects of synchronistic, manifestation that comes in, showing you on that path, whether it's going to buy something and you perceive that something to be defected and you take it back, all of a sudden you got your money back and you got it for free. That is a blessing, right? Remember, we talk about free 99. Free 99 is one of the best things to have, because that is your creative force bringing that to you, right? If you're stressing about the money to get it, then it's not natural to you. So thank you, Tony, for sharing that. And like I said, that relationship is key as well, because healing comes in multiple different ways. Luck don't just bring you money, as everybody might perceive it. It brings you relationship, it brings you health, it brings you different things, because they're helping you shift to things that best align with that intention, right? So that's awesome. And if you have the Qi Coil, use the Qi Coil. If not, run that frequency in that car. I put mine to, I feel the vibration from the sound. I put it loud enough where I feel the car vibrating the frequency. When I stop at the red light, I put my window down so I can get a little taste of it. It is what it is. And then I'll look at them and look at me like I'm Star Trek, like a Star Trekkie, right? Or look at me like, what is wrong with you? And I just smile back at them and just keep driving like I'm listening to some, some rock and roll or something, right? I enjoy my music. And so I try to make the best of it. And I'm training some of my students now to start getting used to that frequency. So just enjoy you. Go ahead, Joy.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. I'm just wondering, when I search for love frequency, I think it's Salfringo or something like that. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Comes up. Is that the love frequency, or is there something else that actually says love frequency?
So the love frequency, a lot of the heart frequency, a lot of that I try to align with the love frequency, right? So when you go in there and you type in the search and you just type in love, it will pull up a lot of frequency that David intention has created towards love, but a lot of frequencies that revolve around the heart, right? And that's what I like more. And with the love frequency, I use, so everybody, I don't know it, everybody who's using it out there, I use a specific love frequency. I use bad luck protection, good fortune, luck boost 2, lucky star, and instantaneous luck, right? Though that's my playlist. That's my car playlist. I hit that.
I see.
And I want everybody to see if this happening. Then when you're driving, like normally when I'm driving in the morning, sometimes it's heavy traffic. And so there's some red lights I just don't like being at. So I will run with the intention I need to get through. And I just find myself just cruising through the lights. I will get there and the light is green. I'm just driving through it, no resisting, right? And so when I doubt myself, as soon as I doubt myself, I will see a little traffic jam. I say, okay, let me go back to my intention that I can navigate through this. But also if I see the traffic or see whatever, I accept it because it's necessary. And then the more I accept it, the more it allows it to not be there, because remember, I can perceive it without an attachment of judgments towards it. So you'll begin to see at least the minimum, you'll begin to see you cruising a little bit more. And because being in your car sometimes can be agitating. Everybody and their mama's on the highway and they're all in a rush to get somewhere and they all have attitudes, and you cruising smiling and they don't want you smiling, right? They're looking back at you like, what you smiling at, right? Just keep smiling, look at them, show them love, and keep it going, and allow that to just keep pushing through, pushing through with you, right? So keep using the love not the luck frequency, but then also run some of those heart chakra frequency. Richard, do you want to add to the love frequency that you use specifically?
Well, I've been running the heart chakra a lot. I think it's 128 is the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've also run the miracles one. I think it's five something. So
the 528 one? I think it's 528.
Yeah.
So run it, and the Rife has some of those frequency too. Now I meant to say this since some of you are still here. Okay, transformation. Okay, here's another path. Right, I want you to overlay. There's frequency, there's theta frequency, and there's gamma, and there's delta, and there's alpha. Right. I want you, my family out there, to run the theta frequency, if you can, to neutralize you, right? Open you up as you're running the love frequency, right? Because the theta frequency open your state of programming, right? So a lot of the belief system will begin to fade away the more you run. So look for those theta frequency. I wouldn't recommend running anything less than theta. You can run the gamma. Theta is kind of relaxing. You can run it in the background a little bit. But I would say don't run the theta when you're driving. Maybe run it when you're stationed somewhere, because it's more calming. So you don't have to be driving. I recommend you don't drive with it. You know, because the love frequency keeps you awake, right? But the theta frequency will relax you and put you into that programming state. So anytime you get home, if you can run that theta frequency as you are putting forth your intention, you'll see a quicker manifestation, because you're changing your programming of ideas. So the more you're going inward, if you're going inward to create, you know, do it with the theta frequency in the back. I would just like to see how, if you guys have seen changes happening faster when you're running theta. I use the theta sometimes in my classroom. So I have the Qi Coil theta frequency, the brain frequency. And when I run the theta and I'm teaching, it seems to come to the point where they're asking me to run it. Basically, you put the humming noise on again so we can listen to it. So I run the humming noise, and yeah, at first they're like, I don't want to hear that. Now everybody likes the humming noise, right? So it's in the background and it calms them down. It is what it is. And so allows them to open. I'm seeing more growth with some of the students just running that. And when I run that, I usually I give them some motivations and some motivational talk behind it. And they seem to be aligning. You know, some other students need more. So, you know, go to the Qi Life store, you know, visit the Qi Life store, search around. Right? I'm asking all of you guys to just test it. Let's play with it. Let's come back and teach one another. I would like you guys to start taking over. I would like somebody else to just come in and say, Mr. G, Mr. Gallizia, Mr. GJ, whatever your name is, I would like to just run the show today. Yeah, right, Richard? I got this today. I want you to just sit back and chill. I got this. That sound like a plan, Richard?
Oh, you do. You know, Jossie, you are so far above me. I mean, you do such a great job. I can see from the feedback people are giving you what a great job you're doing, and I agree. No, you need to be running this.
It's a team effort. It's a team effort. Well, I love you guys. Let's continue to put love first. Let's continue to put others first. Be the love the world needs. Please be the light. Be the love the world needs, because the world needs it desperately. You don't have to go out there and show it. Just be it. Be it in your house. Be it in your on your couch. Be it just wherever you are. Just be loving and feed that loving in yourself. No matter what you see, go in, change that with love. Love and light is who you are within creation. I love you guys. I appreciate all of you for co-creating today. Let's stay the course. Let's be more. Love you all.